Good morning and welcome to day three of Red Cloud's Oktoberfest Fall Mining Symposium. Our first presentation today is from one of our top picks, Chalice Gold Mines, an Australian-based company. And with us today is Alex Dorsch, who is the Managing Director, which is Australian for CEO. And I'll pass it off to Alex now.
Thanks very much, Jacob, and thanks everyone for joining me. And good morning to you all. Thanks for joining in early morning your time. As Jacob said, I'm Alex Dorsch. I'm the Managing Director of Chalice Gold Mines. Those who haven't heard, we've made a significant discovery here in Western Australia earlier this year. It's a PGE nickel, copper, cobalt discovery at a project called Julimar, and I'll give you a brief introduction over there and overview of that project now. Our usual forward-looking statements and disclosures, these are available to read in full on our website should you wish. So a bit about Chalice first. We're a unique company, an exploration specialist with a globally significant discovery. So the discovery is considered Australia's first major palladium discovery. It's got a suite of other critical metals, really, that are now being touted really as critical for our clean energy future, not least nickel, copper, and cobalt. And it's one of those rare discoveries. It's a new district in a new mineral province, so they're completely unexplored part of Western Australia. We are an active explorer. We've got a pipeline of other opportunities around Australia. Obviously, we've defined a new mineral province in Western Australia called the West Yilgarn Nickel Copper PGE province. We're really in the driver's seat there in that province, but we also have large exploration holdings in at least two other exciting frontier provinces. We have 7 drill rigs currently drilling across 3 projects, so there's not too many companies that have that level of activity, particularly in Australia at the moment. We're a well-funded, high-performing team with an exceptional track record. We've got a proven track record of not only making discoveries but being able to monetize those. We have over 50 million Australian dollars in cash and investments at the moment. So our portfolio, the Julimar discovery over in the western part of Western Australia, and we also have 2 other key projects over in Victoria and the northern part of WA. So the number one there, Julimar, a new discovery earlier this year. The first drill hole at the project was 19 metres at 8.4 grams palladium, 2.6% nickel, 1% copper, and 0.1% cobalt. So I think it still remains the one of the best discovery holes, or one of the best drill intersections of 2020. And that was it was made even more special because it was only from 44 metres down hole. So it was a very shallow intersection at that. It's a 100% owned project. It's a 26-kilometre long intrusive complex. It's just outside of the town of Perth. The city of Perth here is about 70 kilometres away. We've got 4 rigs drilling on that project, aiming for a maiden mineral resource in the middle of 2021. So we're about 8 months away from releasing that resource. We are drilling on other 2 projects, Pyramid Hill in Victoria. We've got a new 4-kilometre long gold trend there on a 5,000 square kilometre holding, where we are northwest and northeast of the Fosterville gold mine. Those in Canada at the moment in particular are very familiar with that part of the world. We've got 2 diamond rigs drilling at a new, very recently defined 4-kilometre long target there at Carry. So definitely one to watch there in our portfolio as well. And we're also drilling up in the western part of the Kimberley. We've got an RC rig drilling away on an 1,800 square kilometre holding next door to Independence Group, or IGO, and their discovery Merlin. Which again, the common themes throughout is greenfield holdings. We're typically the first ones to drill holes on our projects, and that's where we feel the best bang for the buck is, and that's where we think the biggest new and next round of big discoveries will come from in Australia. In terms of the corporation, Tim Goyder, our chairman, holds 12% of the company. We've got several other large institutions there, majority in North America and the east coast of Australia. We've got about 308 million shares on issue, so a fairly tight capital structure by Australian standards. We've increased to a market capitalisation at the moment about 900 million Australian dollars. We've got about 50 million on the balance sheet, as I said, which includes 10 million in O3 mining stock. And those stock were received as a vend when we exited Canada about 18 months ago now. And as you can see, we've had a hell of a year. The share price was floating around 15 to 20 cents earlier this year. And then the discovery has, as Jacob said, has turned Chalice into one of the best performers on the ASX and one of the best performers in the industry, up over about 1,000%, or just over 1,000%, and now sitting at over $3 a share. So it's been an incredible year, and I guess a reminder for the industry about how rewarding big new greenfield discoveries can be. So this is the project. This is some core on the left-hand side from one of our drill holes, and I'll show you, I guess, where the project is first. It's a brand new discovery, completely new mineral province, about 70 kilometres out of Perth here. So you can see on the left-hand side there a magnetic image showing Perth and our granted tenements in blue. The granted tenements cover this 26-kilometre long mafic, ultramafic intrusive complex called the Julimar complex. Unbelievably, never been explored. So we picked that ground up in 2018, and we've been exploring on the very southern end, the part of the intrusive complex that's on private land. And we drilled the very first hole, and as I said, we hit that 19-metre high-grade PGE nickel copper cobalt intersection and defined a new mineral province. We've got about 2,000 square kilometres of additional applications around Julimar and about 8,000 square kilometres now along this new mineral province. So we've got a ability to really control the learning curve and really leverage our discovery to make hopefully years of additional discoveries ahead of us. So the discovery is called Gonville. It's an exceptional new discovery with the potential to deliver a world-class deposit. The intrusion itself is there's a bit of a summary here on the left-hand side of all the results we've had from drilling to date. The intrusion is about 1.6 kilometres long and about 800 metres wide. However, we've recently established that it is very much open to the northwest. So the body itself is dipping to the west and plunging to the north. And then it goes into the state forest area, as I said, immediately north. And then there's about 24 kilometres of similar geology extending to the north. We've got a series of high-grade core to the system in what we call G1 to G5 zones, all of which remain open and we're continuing to define. We've got the Eastern Contact Horizon. This is a fairly new development as well, where we're getting some wide-spaced high-grade intersections over about 1.2 kilometres of strike. And we've also, between the high-grade zones and surrounding them, we have widespread disseminated sulfides down to about 600 metres. So the body is exceptionally well mineralised. It's a very fertile metal system. On top of the fresh rock as well, we have a 25-metre thick oxide zone that's very enriched in PGEs and gold. So we've got essentially mineralisation from surface here, and which makes this discovery even more spectacular. We've done a little bit of metallurgy, and the sulfide mineralisation in fresh rock appears to be amenable to flotation, which is great. We've got very few deleterious elements and very low concentrations of deleterious elements. We've also had some success leaching the precious metals out of the oxide part of the resource as well. So a lot of work to do on the metallurgy, given it's a complex system, but obviously a very promising start. And we've got 4 drill rigs drilling away on that project as we speak. This is what it looks like looking down to the northeast. You can see the red zones of mineralisation here. That's 4 individual lenses striking over about 550 metres at the moment. Very much open on both ends, as you can see there, and open at depth down to the west as well. You can see some of our highlighted intersections on the right-hand side there. Our discovery hole was 33 metres at 6.5 grams palladium, 1.6% nickel. We recently reported a 45-metre intercept at 2.9 grams palladium, 0.4% nickel, and you can see there, some exceptional high-grade palladium as well as good base metal grades as well. So a lot of room to grow there, and exceptionally high grade. My apologies, that's jumped back. So 4 of those high grade zones, as I said, in red, you can see looking at a section. They've got about 340 metres of dip extent. You can see on the left hand side there, all remain open at depth, and as I said as well, open along strike. You can see that they're lensing, they're lenses of mineralization stacked on one top of one another, and they are internal to the intrusion. So they're dipping there to the west, well away from the margins of the intrusion. Then we've got this eastern contact. We've got, as I said, several wide space intercepts over about 1.2 kilometres of strike length along the east there. Some of the recent intercepts there highlighted in the black text boxes. And we've got this zone below the red wireframes there. We've got this G4 zone, which appears to be a similar style of mineralization to the eastern contact. So we're looking at a more chalcopyrite dominant mineralization there. Very high palladium, very, very good platinum and gold grades, as well as typically high copper grades. It's worth noting as well that we don't have any other PGEs, so the other 4 PGEs, iridium, osmium, ruthenium, and rhodium. All those assays pending for all those intercepts in this new zones, and obviously a lot more infill drilling to do there along this contact position now that we've really defined something real avenue of growth potential for the deposit. Looking at a bit of a section here, you see the internal zones of the mineralization, the G1 and G2 zones there on the left hand side. That G1 zone shows the discovery intersection there, that 33-metre wide interval. And then some 250 metres away to the east, you see this eastern contact and a lens of mineralisation there, again, about 30 metres wide, extending very close to surface and associated with that contact of the intrusion. You can see there's a westerly dip to the intrusion. One of the more exciting things we're doing at the moment is we're doing an 800-metre step-out hole beyond those high-grade wireframes. The hole is JD18. We actually intersected the intrusion there. This is looking towards the west through the intrusion. The bounds of the intrusion are there in the brown. Sorry, in the grey. That hole has intersected the intrusion at 430 odd metres, and we're getting mineralisation there. And you can see that there is a gentle sort of northerly plunge to those high-grade systems. So we're pretty excited about what this deep conductor down there, EM Conductor X, holds for the project, and it has an ability to really, create a step change in the scale of this discovery. The growth from this project is really when you zoom back now and you look at the scale of this system in its entirety. So everything I've been talking about there, if you look on the left-hand side there, where Gonville is, it is just one sort of part of a package of geology there, which you can quite clearly see there in the magnetics. Strikes for about 26 kilometres to the northeast, but the vast majority of the complex lies underneath a state forest here in WA. State forests are open for mining, and we're currently working on an approvals process to gain approval to go do activities in that forest area. And the main driver for that is, if you see on the right-hand side of the page, we flew an airborne EM survey in September over the vast majority or all of our granted tenure, and you can see that Gonville is a very strong EM response, which you'd expect. But then you've got a completely untested 6.5 kilometre long extension, if you like, to Gonville, which is the Hartog EM anomaly there, and that will go down as probably one of the most exciting geophysical targets I think the industry has seen for a very long time, given the quality and the scale of the Gonville discovery at one end there. And then there's two other responses there in the EM, Baudin and Jans, some sort of 10 to 18 kilometres away to the northeast of Gonville. So it's the beginnings of a new district, and this is where the real excitement and real sort of mega scale may come from this project yet. And for those who are following the PGE markets, obviously would know full well that they're largely used in catalytic converters. There is a big push at the moment towards palladium-based catalytic converters. The palladium market has really been under duress for some time now. The current price is about $2,400 an ounce, and it has been as high as $2,850 an ounce. But look out for future uses, particularly in hydrogen fuel cells. There is a growing application there for PGEs in hydrogen as we move heavy transport, particularly to fuel cells. So that's what we are doing on the project at the moment. We've got access approvals underway to gain access to the state forest. as it says up the top there, we're working towards a maiden mineral resource by the middle of next year. One of the good problems to have at the moment is that we keep extending and keep expanding our high grade mineralisation, which just means more and more drilling. But at the moment, we're looking at about 70,000 metres of drilling to get to that maiden resource, and we're going to push the vast majority of that resource into measured and indicated categories by the middle of next year. In parallel to that, obviously, we want to progress flotation and leach test work, which we have new composites from various different high-grade zones in labs at the moment getting tested. So that sums up the opportunity. Really, the share price has appreciated dramatically, but as you can see, the Julimar discovery is very rare, very significant new discovery. We are just in the early days of understanding that discovery. Haven't talked a lot about what we're doing in Pyramid Hill in Victoria. We've got 2 diamond rigs drilling over there at the moment, and as I said, we've got an RC rig drilling the first holes in the Kimberley on our project there as well. So, this team, has proven itself time and time again. We've made a major discovery this year in Australia. We've got a fantastic balance sheet and an exceptional record, and so I'd encourage you to take a close look at Chalice. And I'll pause there and hand over to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Alex. How much material have you sent off in your optimization studies on the flotation and leach equipment?
We've done about 200 kilograms now of composite samples, so that's from some existing diamond holes, but we will be doing a more dedicated program of diamond holes to both twin some RC holes and to get more sample. But that 200 kilograms, is dispersed through about 5 of those different, high grade zones, G1 to G5. We get a fairly representative, initial view on sulfur content and the potential, parameters around flotation. And that's what we're aiming to do in the first instance, try and achieve differential flotation of various base metals and PGMs. So
separate nickel copper concentrates.
Exactly. That's what we'll be aiming to do for each one of those high grade zones. Obviously, they are a little bit different, particularly G4 with more chalcopyrite dominant, and they have varying, grain sizes and mineralogy to them as well. So we one of the critical, things we're looking at is in getting an understanding of the mineralogy first, and that's typically where the answer lies for metallurgy. As you know, in mineral processing, you need to know the minerals. So that's the work that's going on at the moment.
And I want to highlight that management insiders own a significant amount of stock in the company as well.
Yeah, that's right. So on a fully diluted basis, it's about 15, I think, or 16% of the company that's held at the board of directors and executive level of the company. So there is good inside ownership, and there's strong incentivization to move this project ahead.
I guess the question I'd like to ask, you have so many good things going for Chalice right now. It's been a fantastic year, to say the least. What keeps you up at night, if anything? What do you concern yourself with?
Look, I think the community expectations, given the proximity of the discovery to the city of Perth here, community expectations will be very high. So we have a journey ahead of us to build the trust of the local community as well as the various groups, stakeholders. We're very serious. We take that very seriously, and we're working very hard to build that trust. And it's and really that's for us about demonstrating our values. First up, we are a West Australian company with a West Australian discovery here, so we want to ensure that our values come to the fore, and so but that obviously has challenges with the proximity, but obviously the infrastructure that comes with the proximity is a huge benefit, and obviously there's world-class infrastructure around the city of Perth. And we think obviously it's a fantastic place to make a discovery.
Absolutely. That's just about all our time, Alex, but I want to thank you for making yourself available on a Friday night for you and thank everybody for being available this morning here in Canada and North America for your talk. Thanks very much, Alex. Great to see you again.
Pleasure, Jacob. Pleasure. Thanks, everyone.